Hey everyone, so I'm going to be pretty honest with you. I'm pretty burnt out, and I have bad art block. And by that I mean that I just have no idea what to paint or draw. I want to create art, but I don't know what to create, and I'm feeling a lot of pressure to think of a good idea. So to take that pressure off and also maybe share something a little more personal with you guys, I thought today I would paint some screenshots, particularly from my favorite game series, The Legend of Zelda. And in particular, I'm going to draw some screenshots from Tears of the Kingdom, the most recent game out. This will be spoiler free for the most part. I'm going to try not to spoil anything. But yeah, let's get into it. And I'll do a little more chatting with you there. This is going to be a pretty chatty video. So I wasn't lying when I said that this would be chatty. So I'm going to go over what materials I'm going to use. So I've been wanting to get more into acrylic gouache and kind of get familiarized with it because it's been a while. I'm going to use some Arches watercolor paper. I'm using something with a rougher texture because I find that gouache clings to it a little bit better and is surprisingly more smooth. And then I'm using a Stay Wet palette with some palette paper. So what this will do is keep the paint from drying down, which is helpful with acrylic gouache because once it's dry forever, and this will kind of keep me from wasting paint. Welcome to the voiceover. I thought it would be kind of fun to have clips of me speaking in real time and then have my future self, or currently my present self, talk about the process and maybe nerd out a little bit. I guess to start, I thought it would be fun to talk a little bit about why I chose the materials that I did. So I am painting screen caps from The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, and a while back I found out that the art style of the games were supposed to be, I guess, in a gouache painting style, and so ever since I've thought about how maybe it would be fun to paint some scenes from the game as a way to practice painting and gouache. And I actually did that way back in the day with Breath of the Wild on my own. And I thought it'd be fun to do again. And it definitely served as a good challenge. Something that was also nice about the screenshots that I took is that they're fairly clear. I guess the art style in general, it's easy to tell where the shadows are and where the light source is. Now I didn't fully follow it, but it was a little bit more helpful to visualize things. However, it definitely showed me that I have a lot of weaknesses as far as landscape painting and being able to show depth and perspective. I don't know, I guess I struggle a little bit with showing what is close and what is far away. So this definitely revealed a few things to me. I also found it a little bit tricky to match the colors. And I think some of that is because I forgot that gouache dries down as a different color than it goes on as. And so the colors would change as I would put them down. And it made it a little bit harder to guess what I was actually going to get. So it may not be the most accurate, but I think that's okay. I had to keep telling myself that this was for practice and it didn't need to look identical, because if it needed to look identical, I would have had to do a lot more preparation, and that wasn't the goal here. It was really tricky though, because I love this game and this franchise so much, and it means a lot to me that I felt a lot of fear of messing up and making it look bad because it's just something that I care about a lot, and I guess I just don't want to make it look stupid. I don't really know how to describe it. I actually think it's why I don't do a lot of fan art, is I think I'm afraid of misrepresenting it or not creating something up to my standards. And I think I'm harsher when I'm creating something that's based off of a different IP, or someone else's IP, I should say. But of all the things I've wanted to create fan art for, Zelda is definitely one of the biggest ones, because it's been in my life for a long time. It's actually the game series that really got me into video games. I'd played quite a bit before with my family, but it was actually when we got a Wii and I started playing Zelda Twilight Princess for the first time that I really fell in love with games, and specifically Zelda games in general. I just loved the character designs, the world, the story. It was just so captivating to me at a young age, and it's just stuck with me ever since. I mean, really, it's stayed a consistent interest for pretty much all of my life since I discovered it, and it's always been really exciting when a new game comes out, and it's just something that has always meant a lot to me. And again, that is why I felt a lot of pressure. And also, this was a challenge. I guess I just hadn't drawn a person from this angle, and I found that getting the proportions was more difficult than I thought from behind. Again, I really underestimated both how much time this would take and also how difficult it would end up being. I think I saw the art style as being a little more simple and thought, wow, this'll be easy. And yeah, I was proved wrong, but it also definitely served as the practice I wanted it to be. Now, back to past Emily. Here's kind of what post-painting looks like. Why so messy? So here I am thinking that this would be super quick and easy, and I've done one painting, and it's small. It's very small. And the other ones are going to be bigger. So I think rather than rush and overdo it, I'm going to say that we're going to spread this out into a few days. Gotta take a break and actually have a weekend. But I'm going to continue this tomorrow. Good morning. I've spent a bit of time already doing some sketches for the paintings that I want to do today, but I realized I spent a lot of time yesterday kind of pushing and pulling the paint and wanting it to look like this screenshot, and I realized that this is more meant for practice, for me to try different techniques, and it's not really meant, they're not final pieces. I mean, I'm painting directly from a screenshot, so I'm going to focus more on the practice side and learning new techniques and getting refamiliarized with the acrylic gouache and not so much on things looking perfect. So I'm actually going to give myself a little bit of a time limit. It is about 9:51 and I want to be done by noon. So the goal is an hour or less on each one, and maybe a little break for a snack. But I really want to get these done today, and I don't want to get so caught up in my perfectionistic tendencies. So I think the time limit will help. So I'm going to hop back into things. Y'all, I chose this screenshot because I thought it was going to be easy. I thought, yeah, painting a beautiful woman. This is like a piece of cake. This is exactly what I enjoy doing. And I don't know why I struggled so much. I think I've always kind of struggled with painting people with gouache, and I don't know, I really struggled with it. A lot of it was that I couldn't get the right balance between water and paint, and so it was really hard to move the paint across the paper. Like, at this point, the paper almost was a little too rough, and I forgot how much it's helpful to have a thin layer of paint on before going over, and so it starts off really patchy. Like, the ugly phase of this painting lasted way too long, and it was frustrating, especially because I really like this character and I love the character design. I would go more into it, but I don't really want to spoil anything for anyone who hasn't played this game yet. But she's very beautiful, and so I was putting a lot of pressure on myself to make her look good. And I struggled a lot, especially with the likeness. However, I do feel like it was a really good learning process, and I feel a lot more acclimated to gouache after doing this painting, even though it was my white whale. I think I also struggled with being a little stingy with the paint. Like, I wouldn't mix up enough, and so I would have to go over a spot more than once just to make sure the color was even, because I'd mix it one time, not have enough, and then have to mix it all over again, plus extra, because if I have a new mix, the color's going to be slightly off. And that was definitely something that was frustrating, especially for the skin, which I actually really struggled with the skin tone because she has a darker skin tone that's also a little bit more desaturated. I had a hard time making it look tan and not gray. So it definitely took quite a few passes to get it right. I also want to be honest and say that I cut quite a bit of footage and that there were some parts I didn't film, partially because my camera was struggling a little bit to focus, but also because I'm lazy. I don't know. I think sometimes I get so in the moment when I'm painting, I forget to hit the record button as I'm changing angles, so I do want to apologize for that. I also want to admit that I repainted the hair probably about 10 times, and looking back, I feel like I didn't need to, but I did do that over and over. Like I said, this should have been much easier, but for some reason, I just got really frustrated and struggled a lot. And I think it just goes to show that I really needed the practice. Now, something else that was kind of funny with this process is, if you remember from earlier, I said that I was going to set a time limit, and also that I was going to paint 3 paintings total for this video. This is around the point I hit the 1 hour mark and realized that I had aimed a little too high. I think I thought that I would be painting a lot faster and definitely underestimated how much time I would sit there just thinking and problem solving and also waiting for paint to dry. And it was at this point that I decided maybe we just do 2 paintings, because again, this is just practice. I apologize for saying the word practice so much, but it was a reminder that I needed to give myself a lot, because even though I said I wouldn't give in to my perfectionist tendencies, I still did. I got very hyperfixated on trying to color match and make things look accurate, have my shadows be the exact same shape, and it was a struggle, and I think I probably would have had a little more fun if I had loosened up a bit and not put so much pressure on myself to make the screenshot look the same, or I guess the painting look the same as the screenshot, and focused more on painting the screenshot in my style. Instead, I tried to replicate the style. And while that definitely was good for I guess, practice again. It definitely altered my mood a bit while painting. I felt a lot more pressure. So looking back, I'm filled a little bit with regret. I'm really not trying to complain, but later, a little bit after finishing filming, I thought to myself that I would add a little line art, add some details, and it'd all be good. But I ended up making a mistake and then reworking a lot of the piece, and I'll go into it later. You'll see me talk about it, but looking back, I really wish I didn't do that. Like, some of this older footage I actually really like now, and so I'm a little sad that I overworked it a bit. But again, it's a good lesson for me to take into future pieces. I guess some of the reason that I'm talking about this is because I think that a lot of people think that art is always this super relaxing activity, and I honestly think it should be most of the time, but I personally struggle with that, and I don't know, sometimes I feel like I'm fighting for my life when I'm painting, and that's really not the purpose of it. But when I remind myself why I do art, I'm usually able to reclaim a little bit of peace and approach it a little bit in a slightly more relaxed manner. Anyways, I have been rambling quite a bit, so I'm going to let you enjoy the rest of the process while everything still looked soft and nice, and then you will hear from past me again. Yeah. Thanks for making it this far. So I made a mistake. I thought that I could add just a little line art after turning off the camera, and that led into over an hour of a cycle of fixing a little mistake, then creating a new mistake, and then covering that up. So I'm not even sure if the painting I have now looks exactly like the last footage you saw, and I apologize for not filming it, but I was very hyperfixated and very frustrated. But after finally eating some food, it's amazing what just like feeding yourself can do. You think I would know that at my age. It looks pretty good. Or at least good enough that I can finally leave it. So, let's do the reveal. So here we are. It may not be exactly what I hoped, but honestly, they were really fun to do aside from all the unnecessary stress that I put on myself, and I feel a lot more acquainted with acrylic gouache now, and I'm excited to try using it again with some of my own work and ideas. And with that, thank you all so much for watching. Please leave your thoughts down below, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye everyone!